Welcome to Mount Shasta's Mystic Radio podcast. Our show features guests who are living from what they believe is their soul's calling to create healthy and sustainable communities. We think that is brave and something to celebrate. Please like and subscribe to our show and tell your friends about it. If you would like to be a guest, please visit bewellhive.org and fill out the guest form, and we will get back to you. Mystic Radio is brought to you by Elizabeth Diane. She is the president of the Be Well Hive nonprofit. And Robin Alexis at robinalexis.com. I am Robin Alexis, and I offer private phone readings, Reiki healing weeks, a soul spa membership, and more at robinalexis.com. Now you're going to learn more about Elizabeth and her private practice. Welcome, Elizabeth. And after we hear about you, would you please introduce our guest?
I'd be happy to, and I'd like to welcome all our listeners. It's so beautiful to be here with you today. And I founded Be Well Hive NFP, and you can find out more about it at bewellhive.org. And this is a nonprofit that nurtures wellness and builds resilient community in Mount Shasta and beyond borders. I've also founded sacredgeometryportal.com and podcast, and I'm the designer and owner at lucidninedesign.com. And today I'm really honored to be able to introduce our guest, Dr. Lara, and she is a dynamic speaker, an author, an artist, an angelic healer, and intuitive life coach. She empowers individuals to transform their lives, connect with their innate talents and abilities, and align with their soul's authentic path. Through her work, she helps dissolve mental and emotional traumas at a cellular level, transmuting limiting beliefs, and guides clients towards living their best lives. With an extraordinary ability to communicate with the angelic realm and ascended masters, Dr. Lara channels unique frequencies that bring the body, mind, and soul into immediate alignment, results that are physically demonstrable. And she is trained in breath work and Reiki too, with advanced skills in clearing past life trauma, performing soul retrievals, and efficiently cutting energetic cords. So we're so happy to have you here today. Welcome, Dr. Lara.
Oh, thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here and to know Robin for so long and to come full circle. It's really exciting and I'm honored. Thank you.
I'm so excited to be here with Lara as well. I got to tell you, I was very intrigued when I read your book, Living Life on Your Own Terms, Healer's Edition. There's so many things in there I'd like to bring up, but for right now, would you share your life experience that prompted you to lead your life from your soul's calling?
Oh, yes. Yeah. When I was younger, I was brought up in a Irish Catholic family, and with people that are brought up in that environment, they know there's a lot of drinking. And so I started drinking when I was 13, and it went against my better judgment. I knew I didn't want to, but I started to so I could fit in with my sisters. And so I continued to drink a lot and party a lot for like 10 years. And I finally got to a place I was so low in my life that I didn't know why I was here. I didn't feel like I had a purpose and I didn't want to be here anymore. And I remember it was really late at night. I was coming home from my boyfriend's house at like 11:30 at night and I was so tired. And I remember having a conversation with the universe and I was just like, you know what? If I fall asleep at the wheel and I die, I'm good. Like I was ready to go. I was really ready to go. And then I said, but if I fall asleep at the wheel and I survive it somehow, I'll know that I'm here for a reason. And that was my last thought. And I was driving home on the freeway, the 405 freeway in California, and it's a 4-lane freeway. And I fell asleep at the wheel and went over 4 lanes of traffic, went off of the road, and it was all dirt. And I woke up with the car bouncing. And I thought that my foot was on the brake, so I pushed really hard, but it was actually on the gas pedal, and I went back onto the freeway
Oh
towards the
my.
center of divider, and then my car stalled facing traffic. And so I was like, okay. So I started my car and went to the side of the road. And the weirdest thing was that the cars saw me, but nobody stopped to see if I was okay. Like everybody just kept driving, like nothing happened. And I got out of my car and I checked the lights, I checked the tires, everything looked fine, didn't think I hit anything. And I drove home another 20 miles. And I woke up the next morning. I was living at home at the time, and my dad said, what happened to your car?" I go, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "Well, your tire is slashed. It's totally flat, and your car and your light is bashed in." And I was like, I don't know what happened, but that to me, I made it home 20 miles in my car safely. And so that told me, okay, I survived this falling asleep at the wheel. And I said, okay, I'm here for a reason. And that was the beginning of me understanding that I did have a purpose here. I didn't know quite what it was till probably 10 years after that, but that's what started me on my quest to learning more about myself, learning about why I was here, and tapping into the metaphysical realm.
Well, that is just shocking. That's actually more detail than I read in your book and on your website. I mean, my jaw is on the floor. So, how did you know that it was your soul calling you and not your ego in that experience?
Because I didn't want to do it.
Ah,
I think when it's your ego, the ego wants to be out in front of everybody. The ego wants the accolades. The ego wants to be seen like that. But I fought it every step of the way. And every time that I thought about it, it made me afraid, but yet it invigorated me. So the way I knew it was my soul's calling was because things came into my life and I would feel this vibration in my body, like a truth vibration, like, oh, I need to read this, I need to go see this person, I need to connect with this person. And that was all things that I felt in my body, and that was all my intuition guiding me rather than me trying to figure things out.
That sounds like a big change in your life. Having that realization that you're here for a reason and then being able to see that things are guided. And so I understand that you're married and that you've been able to navigate with your husband some changes together and spiritual growth together. This might really be a powerful learning experience for some of our listeners. Would you share that with us?
Yeah, I had my spiritual awakening before I met my husband, and I was just tired of dating the same kind of person. And so I did a lot of self growth within myself. Like I needed to get through my father issues, I needed to let go of resentment, and I did a lot of self healing. And then I felt like I was ready to be in a relationship, but I put like conditions on this relationship. And one of the conditions was if I'm going to be with somebody, I need to connect with them on a spiritual level. And that was so important to me. And if I wasn't able to connect with someone on a spiritual level, I didn't want to be married because that was such a big part of who I was. And so then I met Mark, and he was very open to everything that I was about. But then later years, I discovered that I was able to channel the angels. And at that time, he was like, and he actually told me, he goes, "I don't think I'm really comfortable with you channeling angels." And in my head, I'm like, well, okay, that's fine, but I'm still going to do it. So even though he wasn't comfortable with it, it was such a big part of me that I wasn't willing not to do it, because if I didn't do it, I would like my soul would die inside. So I just continued to do it, and he worked through it. And then a couple years later, he's like, Lara, I really think that you should start advertising that you channel the angels. Because he saw what I did. I would host angel calls, and he would have to be there because he was my tech support. And he saw what I was able to do. He saw how I could help these people, and then he became a believer. So I think if anything, what the message here is ultimately follow your guidance and do what's best for you and live your life for you. And don't worry or take too much stock of what other people think of you, even if it is your significant other, because they have a chance to or a choice to move with you into that spiritual realm, or they can choose not to. And, I know that's scary for a lot of people, but for me, I wasn't willing to compromise any part of myself or my path or my purpose for somebody else.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I have this thing with my husband where if we get into a conflict like this, I'll say grow or go, because my first relationship is with my soul and my soul purpose and my loyalty to my intuition and understanding that being here and doing what I came to do on a soul level, which you do talk about in your book. I think you have a quote by Osho in the beginning of your book about the importance of really owning your soul purpose, because it's a very specific destiny. And it intrigues me too that you became a doctor, which I'm kind of curious what your degree is in, and how that has helped you move forward in your career. And then also, how is it that you first began to know that you were going to channel the angels?
Okay. So I got my bachelor's in human services, which is counseling from Cal State Fullerton. And I graduated from that and it was good information. I really liked it. It was, but it was based on theory. And I thought to myself, like, there has to be something else that I can offer people besides theory. And I remember I was at a Unity Community Church and I was standing in line to talk to the minister, and there was this brochure or something, and I was I was bored because it was a long line, so I picked up this brochure and I started looking through it, and it was a program. It was become a doctor of metaphysics, and I
Mm.
was like, what, which is the study of energy. So I started to get my double bachelor's, my master's, my doctorate in metaphysics. And while I was doing that, I was introduced to some amazing healers. That's when I was introduced to you, Robin, and someone else that helped me with breath work and Psych K and Reiki, and like all of this stuff opened up. So as I was studying metaphysics, I was also going through my own healing with all of these energetic healing modalities. So that's what my doctorate is in, is the metaphysics, the study of energy, but it's actually all the experiences that I've had through my healings that I bring into my own teaching. And what I realize is that what I do, it can't be taught to other people. Like, people can teach Reiki, people can teach you how to facilitate breath work. But with what I do, through the years, I've just realized that I just kind of tap into the angelic realm, the all there is energy, ancient ancestors. And the reason why I discovered this, it wasn't through like my own ego telling me, it was through meeting other healers that said, do you know what you do? Because I remember I would walk across the lake, or I'd walk around the lake with some friends and kind of counsel them. And so many like amazing things would happen in their lives, like huge breakthroughs. And I'm like, well, there's something going on here. And then finally, I had a session with a shaman, and she asked me, she goes, do you know what you do? I'm like, no, please tell me, what do I do? Because I didn't know. And
Mm.
it was like for some reason, all of this stuff was hidden from me because, and I'm realizing now, because the more that I keep my ego out of it,
Mm.
the more I'm allowing the energy to come through me, because I'm just a channel for this to happen. Like when I do my sessions, I see what's happening. Like the angels come in and they show me, and the ancient ancestors, when they show up, they show me what they're doing. And I think I have this connection with the angels. I was brought up Catholic, and even before I started my journey, I knew that angels were around me.
Mm.
Like I was in so many different situations where it could have gone really, really bad, but there were angels that came in and thwarted the situation so I didn't get hurt, like car accidents and stuff
Mm.
like that. Not, I mean, that first car accident that I talked about, but there was another time where we were on the freeway and the angels kind of like zoomed in and helped. So I think I've always had the connection with them. And then one of the healers just told me, it's like you have the hugest connection to the angelic realm. And so I went with that and went into meditation, and now I'm like connected with them all the time. It's funny because I'll go walking around the park and I'll have a conversation with my angels and I'll be talking out loud. And I'm like, people must think that I'm crazy because I'm like talking to myself, but maybe I'll just put some earbuds in so they think I'm on the phone.
Oh, well, Dr. Lara, through my life too, I've had some sort of connection with angels, and I'm still exploring that, but it's come to me in different ways, through pianos of all things. Like I've given away 3 pianos, and they were all named Angel or Angela, the people that I gifted them to, and there was been all these synchronicities with angels in my life, and I know they play a big part. And like you said, it's come to me in uncanny ways that, like, I wasn't thinking about this, and I'm not putting this out there for, it's self-importance or anything. So my curiosity is if you have a message for us today from the angels.
Oh, okay. Well, let me tap in. The biggest message that they want to say for people today is to do your best to stay out of fear and to really understand that life is always unfolding towards our highest good. So sometimes when it looks like things are starting to break down and fall apart and change, it can be very scary from a human perspective. But from the angelic perspective, they can see the long-term effects of what's happening. There have been many things that have been built on, and they're showing me sand. So like a shaky foundation. Okay. And what's happening now is that is all breaking apart. And things have to break apart in order for the new to come through. And now they're showing me like these flowers and grass that's coming through, like the broken parts of things. So and to also understand that we're in the middle of this huge transformation, and each person on the planet has a purpose for being here, whether it's just holding the light, holding love, or healing, or breaking things down, or rebuilding. Like every single person is playing an integral role on this planet, whether we realize it or not. And everything is always working out for our highest good. So there really is no reason to fear. And they understand that as humans, we are having these feelings of fear because we don't know what's coming and we can't see what is in store for us. But the angels constantly want to let us know that good is in store for us. Actually, the good is here now. We just have to be able to look through the rubble, look through the illusion to see the good that is here.
Mm. That's kind of
It,
hard.
it is. It is hard. It is hard. But okay, so they're speaking to us, Robin. So it's
Hmm.
hard when we come from that ego perspective of
Mm.
thinking that things should be a certain way. And
Ah,
when things aren't the way we think they should be, that's where we get in trouble. That's where we get frustrated. That's where we get angry. But it's looking at things at a higher perspective and understanding that everything is a process and that life really is working out towards our highest good. So if we're able to just observe what is happening and not get so wrapped up emotionally into what we think things should be, because the universe, the angels, they can figure things out way better than our human minds can. And
yeah,
there's
I
a
guess.
much bigger perspective that we can look through.
Well, I guess if they can get you home in a car that has a bad tire, they can certainly fix the rest of things, can't they?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
Wow. This is just fascinating. Elizabeth, are you feeling anything from what Lara is sharing with us?
I am actually. I'm feeling like a little bit of a tingly warmth in my body, and that's reminding me of a conversation I had just last night when I had started meditation in my life and started sensing some self-love come into my life. And then I realized I was dropping fear as like a background operating program almost. Like, I needed to like delete that program because we tend to, we're stewed in it. Sometimes we get used to it and we don't always know how much we're living in fear until we suddenly are, released of it. And so I think there's a lot of ways, there could be somatic practices, just like noticing the body, because like just the thought of like not having fears brought on more of that warmth in my body and a relaxation in my shoulders. And I think that, yeah, there's different ways that we can, you know, um, if we have a spiritual practice, whether it's prayer or, um, multitude of ways that we can release fear and then pay attention to what it's like to be without the fear so that we can embrace change and trust that something better is coming along. What
Yeah,
beautiful. Again, I'm really grateful for this insight and
absolutely.
advice.
Yeah, I remember back in when COVID first started, and it was 3 months into after the shutdown, and I just had so much fear. And I went for a walk around that park, and I talked to my angels. I said, "Angels, please help me. I do not want to live in fear anymore." And by the end of that walk, that fear had dissipated, and I really haven't had the fear like I had 5 years ago since then. And so, everything starts with intention. And the angels,
Hmm.
if you ask them for help, they are there to help you. Yeah.
Well, I'd like to set the intention that I release my egoic response to what I'm seeing and therefore the fear, and that I open myself up to receive more direct interaction with the angels who are willing to communicate. And Dr. Lara, do you suggest that listeners overcome their self-imposed limitations, and how do they transform their soul passion into a thriving business? So you've gone through a whole arc here of how you got on your path, what you've done on your path. You've offered us what you actually do here by channeling the angels. Do you teach a class on all of this?
I do teach a class. I have in the past. I don't have anything set up now. But one of the things that I would suggest for people that want to make their purpose into a livelihood, and this is in the book, it gives you a step-by-step process on how to do that, is to create your life the way you want it to be. And like because when I decided that I was going to do this for a living, I wanted to work outside. I didn't want to be in an office. I wanted to set my own hours. And there were so many things that I wanted it to be like. And today I have all of that and more. So I think that when we decide that we want to do this for a living, we have to understand that we don't have any boundaries. We don't have any limitations unless we put them on ourselves. So anything that you want, you just put it out there, and the universe will help you go towards what it is that you're wanting. Because we're here for a reason, especially the healers. And the work we do is so important. And I'm a firm believer that we do not need to suffer. We do not need to be in poverty. We do not need to sacrifice our health in any way, shape, or form. And I told the universe that. I said, I'm willing to do this work, but I don't want to be taken out emotionally. I don't want to be taken out physically. I want to be financially supported. And I put these stipulations on my work because I firmly believe that the work we do is sacred and that we deserve to have a good life while we're doing it.
So do you offer private sessions where you help people understand what their sole purpose is?
Yes, I do. They're intuitive mentoring sessions. I have it's like 6 session packages, and what we do is I help people figure out what their talents and abilities are, and I help them remove the fear and the self-doubt that keeps them from doing that, and help them cultivate the fertile soil for them to go out and fulfill their purpose the way that they want to.
So you help people ascertain their soul purpose, and then you help remind them that they do know when they know that they know by listening to their soul and not their ego. And then it sounds like you help them create a life plan, not just a business plan. And then I would assume people keep coming back to you after that because, as you've stated throughout the whole podcast, that you're always seeking your own self growth. So, do you keep mentoring people on their own self growth even after they've established a business?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I don't help with the business plan part of it. I do have resources for that, but I do help them cultivate how they want to show up. And yes, I have clients from like 5 years ago that still call me.
Good.
Yeah, because it's not just about your sole purpose. It's about how you show up in the world, how you
Mm.
show up in relationship, how you show up for yourself. So that's all part of it as well.
Wow. Well, Elizabeth, I have a lot more questions for her, but do you have some?
I have so many, and I'm wondering if maybe we want to have you back on a future show, Dr. Lara.
Oh, I'd be happy to.
I'd love that. And I'd love for our listeners to know the best way to reach you. Can you share a website or your contact?
Oh, sure. It's drlararomero.com, DrLararomero.com is my website. And my book is available on Amazon. And I also have a YouTube channel, drlararomero.com, where I uh, give weekly channeled angel messages and teaching videos as well.
Wonderful. So people can get in contact with you, they can set up appointments, they can subscribe so that they're reminded about when your information comes out. I really like those kinds of tools to stay in touch with the people who are bringing value into my life, and you certainly are. You're reminding me of the some of the successes in my life have been when I have asked the angels to come and support me, and really big, powerful things have happened for me as well. And so I love that you're offering this work with other people,
Oh,
especially at this time when I'm sure so many people are seeing their lives and what they really want to see happen kind of crumbling. And I'm inspired because it really takes all of us following our purpose and then kind of like linking together and co-creating to let those new sprouts emerge, like you
mm-hmm.
described in the beginning. I love that
Yeah.
visual.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you do go to my website, you can sign up for a free angel guided meditation, and it's to help people remember why they're here and
Ooh.
to help them know their soul, to remember who they are. And then I give out like weekly emails of helpful tips and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm super, super excited about it. And of course, I just love Elizabeth, the co-host of Mystic Radio. And Elizabeth, why don't you share again how people can get a hold of you?
Well, I'd love for people to go to bewellhive.org as a sponsor of this show and a nonprofit that supports communities that offer information like this or ways that we can build and grow together. So that's the best way to get a hold of me. And I know that people can get a hold of you at robinalexis.com.
Well, I think what I'd like to share is that if we do have Dr. Laura come back on, maybe we could do something where the whole show is bringing through the angels to help anybody listening to create healthy and sustainable communities. Like, if we're going to do that, if we're going to create healthy and sustainable communities, which is the goal of the show, we obviously need to invoke the angels to help us do that. So we could do that, and then maybe you could bring in the bees, Elizabeth, and who knows? It just sounds like we could open the door to new ways of creating good things on the planet.
Yes,
I
yes.
would
Like
be honored
just
to do
flying
that. That
around
would be a lot
together.
of fun.
All right. All right. Well, thank you everybody so much for listening. And please remember to like and subscribe to Mystic Radio with Robin Alexis and fill out the guest form if you would like to come on the show. Namaste.